Hello, everyone. Namaste. Har Har Mahadev. I hope you guys are doing great. So, today's topic that we are going to discuss is the retrograde Mercury that is happening on 29th of June till 24th of July 2026. So today we'll be understanding how this Mercury will be giving its effect into the zodiac sign of Cancer and also into the zodiac sign of Gemini, because that's how it is going to move. It will go retrograde into the zodiac sign of Cancer, then go back into the zodiac sign of Gemini, then move direct and come back into the sign of Cancer again. Before we move ahead, if you guys are new to my channel, you know what to do. Subscribe and hit the bell icon below so that you get regular updates. If you would like to have your personal readings from me, check out the link in the description box, www.anmolastrology.com. Under the reading and unique reading section, you can book a personal reading for yourself. Also, you can sign up for online courses under the courses option under the same website. All right, so let's get started with the discussion of Mercury retrograde. First, I would like to go about with the dates, and then further, let's go with the explanation. So, Mercury would go retrograde on 29th of June 2026, and it is retrograde for 25 days. Mercury will be conjunct Jupiter and Venus in its retrograde state in Cancer from 29th of June till 4th of July 2026, when Venus would move away from the zodiac sign of Cancer and would enter Leo and be conjunct with Ketu. Further, we'll have retrograde Mercury alone with Jupiter from 4th to 7th of July in the zodiac sign of Cancer, when Mercury is going to move out and come into the zodiac sign of Gemini. Now, there, retrograde Mercury will be conjunct Sun in the zodiac sign of Gemini from 7th of July to 16th of July 2026. Further, Sun will be leaving the zodiac sign of Gemini and going into the zodiac sign of Cancer. That's why Mercury would remain alone in its retrograde state in Gemini from 16th of July till 24th of July 2026. So it's very important to understand these timelines because they are going to decide how the retrogression will play out. All right. So now let's discuss systematically what this Mercury retrograde is going to give the results. So previously also in this year, Mercury did go retrograde. I explained what does a Mercury retrograde means, but let's understand it with the perspective of zodiac sign. Because wherever you look, online, you'll go through the videos, all you get to know is that there are going to be communication glitches, there are going to be misunderstandings, there are going to be reconciliations from the past, there's going to be recommunications from the past. But let's understand the fact that every retrograde doesn't necessarily would bring in same results. It can bring similar results because the fundamental nature of a planet going retrograde is going to remain the same. The activations it would do, it would activate the house it is sitting in, it would activate the previous house, it would associate the karma with the existing house and with the previous house. So that's the fundamental belief, that's the fundamental prediction for any retrograde planet. So we are going to also discuss that, but our focus has to be that how this Mercury is going to behave while in Cancer and while in Gemini. So let's first understand what is Mercury, the most important thing. Then we would talk about how it gets retrograde and how it produces its result. Then we'd understand that how the fundamental results of a planet going retrograde into a transit play out. Then we'll talk about the zodiac signs. All right. So Mercury is the planet of your intellect. It's the planet of your thinking. It's the planet of how you process your information. So let me tell you, if you are a learner of astrology, if you are trying to understand astrology to the core level, you should know that how strong your basics of astrology should be. So Mercury, Buddh, is your buddhi, is it's your intelligence. Along with that, you should always refer to the natural houses and zodiac signs that a planet governs, because it is going to have a lot of qualities of those two zodiac signs. In some cases, it's a single zodiac sign. So Mercury naturally governs the third house, the zodiac sign of Gemini, the sixth house, the zodiac sign of Virgo. So Mercury represents your communication. It's your action, it's your effort, it's your adjustment. Mercury is your thinking process, how you process an information, how you understand an information. Mercury is your argumentative self. Mercury is your analytical self. Mercury is trade. Mercury is business. Mercury is your sense of calculation. It's all about numbers, it's about budget. Mercury is the planet that triggers the emotions like enviousness, jealousy, revengeful nature, and the intense toxic emotions that are present in every human being. Because Mercury is your nervous system, it is how your brain receives the signal, how you understand something which you get, which you experience through your surroundings. So Mercury is very, very important planet. And when it goes retrograde, makes you have a major karma to deal with. It might appear to be very little. The things related to Mercury can be very little. The trigger points can be very little, but they are always impactful. They always have a great impact. Like, what do we say? That your tongue, your communication matters the most, how it can act as a sword. Similarly, Mercury appears to be the simplest planet, the most prince like, the charming planet, but at the same time being a casual planet that people do believe it to be, it still has a lot of impact. It can do wonders and it can create a lot of obstacles at the same time. So, Mercury is naturally ruling the sixth house, the house of obstacles, the house of competition. And how does your competition come out? When you get jealous, when you get offended, when you get into that argumentative zone. So, all these things are basically governed by Mercury. So, now when a planet goes retrograde in a transit, what does it do? So, wherever a planet would go retrograde, it will impact that house very, very deeply. The retrogression of a planet would suggest that you have to go into the deeper roots of that house to acknowledge the significance related to that planet. So, if Mercury is going retrograde into any of your houses, wherever Cancer is, wherever Gemini is, you have to see the deep rooted issues. You have to deal with the deep set of rules and deep set of things present into that house. You first acknowledge them. Either you do it voluntarily or the universe pushes you to do that by triggering the circumstances in your surroundings. But you will have to deal with it. And then slowly and steadily, you fulfill that karma. You acknowledge that karma, you go through that karma, you solve that karma. And always, the karma that has to be completed into that house that is going to be associated with the previous house. Like, let's give an example here. If Mercury is retrograde in the zodiac sign of Cancer, which is ruled by your emotions, which is ruled by your stability, your nourishment, your heart space, this Mercury makes you deal with troubles of emotions, makes you deal with childhood trauma, makes you deal with old, you know, old, deep, hidden emotions, hidden, you know, happiness, or the kind of happiness that you, or the kind of emotions that you have suppressed over a period of time. This Mercury would make you deal with that. And how do you deal with that? By communicating or by giving out a reaction. And why I'm saying so? Because it is connected to the previous house and the zodiac sign of Gemini. So, communication, self effort, courage becomes a key component to deal with the karma present in that house. At the same time, the karma associated with the previous house has to also be dealt with because of the house where the planet is present. So, if Mercury goes retrograde in the zodiac sign of Cancer, you will go through moments where you are going to act very overconfident with your communication. You're going to act like, I know everything. I am ready for a debate. I'm ready to communicate. I'm ready to retaliate. I'm ready to give a reaction. And that will be triggered because of your emotions, because of something which is deeply hidden but not acknowledged. And that's where Cancer plays the role. So you see how both of these zodiac signs are correlated when the retrogression happens? That's the actual logic behind a retrograde planet. And you can apply the same thing in your birth chart, in your D9 chart, in your D10 chart. The logic, the fundamental understanding remains the same. Now, when it will go into the zodiac sign of Gemini, when this Mercury would go into the zodiac sign of Gemini, it will have to deal with the karma related to Taurus and related to Gemini. So, Taurus is about securing your ground. Taurus is about possessing what is required by you. Like, for example, when there is something catastrophic that has to happen and you are alarmed for it, you try to collect your resources, you try to collect your things, the things of need, your daily basic needs, and your luxury sometimes as well. You try to gather whatever you need, whatever makes you feel secure and comforted. That's the kind of situation it creates. So you try to hold or you try to stabilize yourself, your efforts go into making yourself feel secured. So, first, things are going to trigger because of the deep hidden issues, deep hidden emotions. Then it is going to trigger the self effort, which will be backed up by total logics, which will be backed up by, you know, futuristic goals. So that's a fundamental understanding of how this Mercury retrograde or any retrograde planet, how it affects both the zodiac signs, the zodiac sign where it is sitting and one house before it. So that's the fundamental understanding. Now let's first understand what would Mercury retrograde in the zodiac sign of Cancer would do. And especially, I want you to know this that this Mercury is going to conjunct Venus and Jupiter, which is already there at the point Mercury would go retrograde. So, the span of time we did, understood from 29th of June till 4th of July, three of these planets are going to be together. So, let's talk about this duration first. So, Cancer. Cancer is the zodiac sign which actually has a lot more to it than what we know. So even I, in my videos, have always been saying that, it's the fourth house. What's the basic sense of Cancer? That it's the fourth house. It's the house of your nourishment, comfort, convenience, stability. It's one of the houses which is called as the Raj Gati. So whenever any transit happens into this house, your mind triggers and starts thinking about, how do I get comfortable? How do I stable ground for myself? How do I work on my foundation? Right? This is the water sign. It has the water tattva. But at the same time, this is a pond, right? Any planet that comes here comes into the night zone because it's a nighttime house. It's a nighttime zodiac sign. It's ruled by moon. It's the Mool Trikon sign of Rahu. So when Mercury is coming into this sign, it is forced to slow down a little. And there's a intense trigger of emotions which happens here. Why? Now, first of all, Mercury is not considered comfortable or healthy or very good placement into the zodiac sign of Cancer. And trust me, I've tested this with ages. Like if someone has Mercury in the zodiac sign of Cancer, I've seen their 31st year, their year of maturity of Mercury, any, according to the BSP technique, whatever house is representing the Mercury in Cancer. I've seen those years going really, really bad, where they have to deal with intensified emotions, intensification of ups and downs in their life. Because the reason is that Cancer is the house of emotions, experiences. It's not the house which welcomes logic. When you think through your heart, you do not let your mind come in between. And you will see a logical person, a person who with a logical mind will always get irritated from a person who thinks from the heart, who takes decision from the heart. So that's the reason these two energies doesn't do very well together. Another thing, this is the house of manipulation. Wherever Mercury is a straightforward planet. Mercury is the planet of communication. But if you'll see people who have Mercury in the ascendant, Mercury conjunct, maybe with actually not Mercury conjunct, but if Mercury is into certain signs, they are blunt, they are truthful. Mercury initially actually represents direct communication. But when you put it into a zodiac sign, which is about manipulation, which is about nourishment and losing your logic, talking upon emotions, considering emotional decisions rather than logical and rational decisions, this is not going to be the best scenario for you. So that's the reason this Mercury already feels uncomfortable into this position, into this state. Now it goes retrograde. That means you will have to go through instances which would cause miscommunication because of overpowering emotions. Now, Mercury is forced to revisit its emotional state, its emotional decisions. Now, it's the kind of time where you have to deal with your inner emotions. You have to deal with your inner fear also, because this is one of the moksha signs. This is the sign where the water is present. We do not know the depth of water. And if something is happening into a pond, if something is happening into an ocean, it won't be visible until unless it has the capacity to come out. And now, along with that, we have a heavy, heavy planet, Jupiter, which suppresses this. It's like you're throwing a rock or you're throwing a heavy stone into the ocean or into the pond. What will it do? It will sink. And now Mercury is getting connected here, it's going retrograde, it potentially would also sink. So definitely, till the time Mercury is retrograde, there are so many triggers we are going to actually rather let me correct it. There are so many emotional triggers that we are going to experience and we are going to go through. There are so many realizations, there are so many emotional burst outs that we are going to go through. Along with that, till the time Mercury is conjunct with Jupiter and Venus, what will happen is, I always say one thing about Venus and Jupiter being together. Actually, there are so many aspects to it. One of the aspects is that it is a Lakshmi yoga. It makes you have abundance of wealth. It makes you have abundance of knowledge and wisdom also. Not just the wisdom or knowledge that you get through your books, through your knowledge, but also that you get through your experiences, through your values. But when these two planets come together, that also causes conflict. Why? Because a person would start feeling that I know it all. So the overconfidence comes in. And since it is in a sensitive sign of Cancer, it's a huge tug of war emotionally that goes on. Like, for example, it's a person, any person who is heavily being affected with this particular transit, like, how do we see that a person is going to be heavily affected if they have their prominent planets in the zodiac sign of Cancer, if they have their ascendant as Cancer, or they are going through Jupiter Dasha, Antardasha, Venus Dasha, Antardasha, then they're definitely going to go through and get the impact, the heavy impact of this particular conjunction. So, what will happen is a person is going to feel that I know everything, right? And if someone else reaches out to them, tries to tell them that no, here you are wrong, you're not thinking the way you should, or this is not how this thing should be done, they will get offended. They will simply go into that shell, into that cocoon of the crab. So that's how sensitive this particular placement becomes. Now, your wisdom is actually being protected by your emotions. So, any attack to it, any person trying to correct that wisdom, which according to their perspective is not all right, that is going to feel as a attack over your emotions. So that's why this is a time, or particularly this retrogression of Mercury, and especially till the time Jupiter and Venus are together, this is actually the time, a very sensitive, emotionally sensitive time. And it can trigger reactions which are, which are coming from the inside. It's not the reaction that is coming from a fire element. Because if it comes from a fire element, it would come and go. But when it comes through a water element, then it stays there. A part of it is added to your trauma. A part of it is added to your memory. And now, since we are going to have Mercury along with it will all come out through our communication. It will all come out in a very debatable and argumentative way. It will all come out in a very obstacle and competitive way. So, between 29th of June till 4th of July, be extremely careful of your communication and your reaction to anything. You may feel emotionally low because one thing, it is the very beginning of the retrogression. It is happening in Cancer. So it will first give you the boost of confidence, the boost of emotions, and then it is going to create a conflict because of it. And then the journey of you understanding and learning your wisdom through this circumstance would start. But initially, it would go and take you at the highest of that place. and then, you know, bring you down. After this, we are going to have a retrograde Mercury along with Jupiter in Cancer, and Venus is going to move out. So when Venus moves out, somehow I would say it's not a sense of relief, neither it's a sense of problem. But Mercury, Jupiter, whenever together, and Mercury is going retrograde, you will have to deal with a lot of documentation, a lot of knowledge, a lot of wisdom. And I think the moment Venus would actually go away from there, that's the time when Jupiter will expand this energy of Mercury and give its wisdom to Mercury as well. Because it's said that Jupiter, whatever planet it touches, whatever house it aspects, it beautifies it, it gives magic to it. So when Mercury is retrograde, present with Jupiter from 4th to 7th of July, avoid miscommunications, avoid misunderstandings. Because, of course, what has happened before would lead to misunderstandings. And at the same time, it will also teach you that why such kind of attitude is not required. Then slowly you start going into that zone where you start understanding that all this communication, all this arrogance, or all this, retaliating or overconfidence, trying to prove oneself, all this is coming from a hidden emotion deep inside. That's the time when you acknowledge it, between 4th to 7th of July. And once you acknowledge it, it goes back. Mercury goes back into Punarvasu, into the zodiac sign of Gemini. Now is the time when your efforts are to be rectified. Because the emotional trigger has happened till the time Mercury was in Cancer. Now it's about you understanding that there are to be some changes to be done with your understanding. So, re-evaluating your financial decisions, re-evaluating your communication, re-evaluating where you are standing. How do you improve your current situation? How do you improve your emotional situation? That is all we are going to experience till the time Mercury remains in Gemini. So when Mercury is retrograde in Gemini, it will be first conjunct with Sun, and then it will be sitting alone. So till the time it is with Sun, it's getting that confidence and power. And when it sits alone, it's getting more intelligence. And now it's not being influenced by any of the planets. It's just receiving the fifth aspect of Rahu. So it's trying to calculatively, intelligently, using its cleverness or any sort of thought process to improve the situation again. And that's where the theory of the return of the light would trigger. Because all this retrogression is happening in Punarvasu Nakshatra. And since we have been having Jupiter in Punarvasu since a long time, and now the retrogression is also happening in Punarvasu on the both sides, on Cancer and on Gemini. This is our test. This is our test of not overgiving, not undergiving, but seeking a balance with what we are doing. Because the reason Punarvasu comes after the nakshatra of Ardra is that when the destruction through Ardra is done, now you have to rebuild your throne. After you have spent your time into the jungle, gone through all the troubles, all the, Like, imagine going from a very comfortable space to a very uncomfortable space, like a jungle. You have to treat, you have to, do, you have to lead your survival. You have to do things for the survival, right? And then you come to Punarvasu when you start building everything. And in Ardra, how you're unforgetful. You don't forget, you don't forgive. In Punarvasu, your karma is to forgive and forget. Your karma is to save and protect. Your karma is to understand the highest wisdom, just like a saint, just like a sadhu, just like a spiritualist person, that what has happened has happened. For me to move forward, for me to gain my peace, I have to forgive, I have to let go. You will learn about the hospitality side of Punarvasu, but you will very rarely know about the letting go of side of Punarvasu, the innocence of Punarvasu. So for this while Mercury is retrograde, we will have to deal with important decisions regarding properties, home, home environment, how we are dealing with our families, our home structures, home, everything related to home, comforts, our expenditure towards luxury, reevaluating how we are spending, reevaluating finances, starting, and for some people, it will be starting from scratch, starting again and trying to come back into a stable ground with the finances. Many people would also go through instances where they might change jobs, they might change professions, and we will be triggered to think that what gives us stability? How do we seek a strong foundation monetarily, physically, financially, I already said, emotionally. So all these things are to be dealt with in the month of July. Of course, we'll be talking about it in the forecast of July, but Mercury retrograde has a total different aspect to it. So if you anytime see any of your loved person to be reacting in a very, very, emotional, bursting way, just hold them closer. Just hold them and help them heal. Because trust me, whenever any retrogression happens into the moksha houses or moksha zodiac signs, something has to be healed from within, from deep, that is not visible and that suddenly comes out. And at the same time, you're having a planet of logic here. You're having a planet which doesn't, which is very picky about everything. So during the time it is in retrograde in Cancer, we are going to be extremely picky with our comforts, with our conveniences, with our surroundings. And that would lead us to bring in certain decisions and changes. And of course, this time around, we will definitely have a major impact upon communication and reconciliations, but not the actual reconciliations, but also the reconciliations which can happen by us letting go of certain emotions. It doesn't have to be actual reconciliation, but it has to be the settlement that happens within ourself, our mind. So I think emotionally and decision wise, July has to be a very, very important scenario. There will be some back and forth decisions of travel as well, we are going to experience. And of course, since it was very, it was said by Narendra Modi, our PM, that we have to save money. We have to, it's the time that we stop spending on unnecessary products because there can be inflation, there can be recession. I'm not saying that this might trigger that, but we will come into circumstances in on the mundane level where we'll have to restart our investments or reevaluating certain things, maybe buying LICs, buying, investments for the future. So certain calculative and analytical decisions are to be also taken when Mercury goes retrograde. And trust me on this, if you are a firm believer of the fact that in Mercury retrograde, do not start anything new, I will totally disagree with this statement because I think many, many people wonderfully start new endeavors in a retrograde Mercury and they flourish for them. But their nature must be either occasional or like, temporary contracts. Those are the best that are made in the retrograde Mercury. And some people, according to their planetary placement, would actually have the trigger points into the Mercury retrogression when they would do extremely well by starting some new endeavors or in their existing endeavors. All right. So this was the understanding about Mercury retrograde in both the zodiac signs. Now let's move forward with the predictions for each and every zodiac sign. Before I go for that, please understand. First, go through the Muhurat chart. Because it's a transit, we are going to refer to the Muhurat chart for the first couple of minutes. Then we are going to start with that particular same ascendant only. Look for your ascendant zodiac sign first and then look for your moon zodiac sign. Both are equally important. Please do not feel that one of them is more important than the other. Both are equally significant, equally important, and you'll always see that they are going to correlate in a certain way as per your situation. All right. So now let's get started with the Muhurat chart. So now for the Muhurat chart, we have Aquarius rising with Rahu in the ascendant, Ketu in the seventh. The energy, the planet of energy, planet of action, Mars going into the fourth house, right into the zodiac sign of Taurus. Mercury goes retrograde into the sixth house, conjunct Jupiter and Venus. At the same time, we have Moon in the 11th house in Moola, Sagittarius. So, the reason I'm mentioning all these placements is that these placements are extremely important for us to understand what could be the results that could come out from a retrograde Mercury. So, it's very much similar to what we discussed till now with the understanding of retrograde Mercury in Cancer and then in Gemini. All right. So, most of all, it talks about deep rooted issues, dealing with deep rooted issues, which are acting as conflict, trouble, and obstacles. It is making us deal with the financial decisions, financial complications, some old debts, either karmic debts or financial debts that we must take responsibility for. It can be regarding not our own debts, but the debts that are basically added on over a period of time. Maybe it's the debt of of someone in the family that you have to deal with, or it's the karmic debt that you have to deal with. So simply with Mercury in Cancer, retrograde in the sixth house, it basically involves all these things, the activation of karma related to workspace, related to debts, financial understanding, financial management, related to childhood traumas, related to emotional obstacles, related to our peace of mind, Also, at the same time, this does show that we are going to take decisions for bigger things, like buying a house, buying a property, buying a vehicle, anything which are in our capacity seems to be huge. And that's a part of investment, which is luxurious in nature as well. So all those things are also going to be, you know, dealt with. At the same time, I think we all have to deal with certain politics, either on the mundane level or on individual level, in within our within our family space, within our colleague space, like workspace, or anything, but in some form, a strong possibility of dealing through manipulative people, dealing through manipulative gurus, in fact, or colleagues, or relatives, or friendships, that is also part of this Muhurat chart. But indeed, overall, this talks about growth. This talks about being present, dealing with the conflicts, and coming out from it so we can have a better place and we can heal what is creating obstacle. So that's what this Muhurat chart represents. Now, if we talk about the sign of Aquarius, for Aquarius individuals, Mercury is going retrograde in their sixth house and then in their fifth house. Mercury is the lord of your fifth and eighth, coming into the sixth house, going retrograde, then going into the fifth house, going retrograde. So what you will have to deal with, revisiting your choices with investments, fixed assets, re-going through conflicts within the family, within the workspace, and specifically, I see a very strong inclination towards improvising your health. Your health would need attention, would need healing from the inside. You can end up, initially, you can end up into unnecessary conflict and disputes with your colleagues, with your anyone in your workspace, or anyone in your relatives, or even your family. And that could happen, and there is going to be emotional aspect attached to the other person with whom you will develop a conflict, or there will be, you know even in some cases, some people can even have a resolution of that conflict. But all the matters related to your fifth house, eighth house, and sixth house are getting affected here. So a lot of recorrection is needed and is done in regards of finances, in regards of the way you handle your conflicts, the way you take them personally or professionally. Because some people, it basically is trying to show me that you are going through your transition, you are going through your transformation, where you are standing how to sort things, that which kind of, you know, emotion should affect me and which I must let go. That's the situation. That's the major situation, right? And there are some important decisions in regards of the stability of your health and finances, especially. All right. And since it involves the fifth house also, I think this is not the best time for romance. There are a lot of emotions that are instilled in respect of romance, in respect of the way you have expressed love, and that also needs healing at the moment, right? So now, next we have the zodiac sign of Pisces. For Pisces individuals, Mercury is going retrograde in the fifth house and in the fourth house. Mercury is the lord of the fourth and the seventh house, going into the fifth house. So, this shows that for a Pisces individual, you have to revisit or re go through evaluating your emotions, your protectiveness in regards of your relationship. There are certain decisions that are to be made. There are certain sitting down with your partner and talking about what has been the issue, what has been the complication that is required if you are a part of a relationship or a love encounter. Definitely, it can bring back someone from the past, either a friend, either a romantic partner, with whom you will have that emotional interaction so that you get that closure, so that you get you get the final understanding of why things happened the way they did. And other thing is, from the financial perspective, there's something which is required to change in regards of your career. Some old pattern that needs to change in regards of your career, some creativity, some skills, your intelligence, your decision that needs to be entered into your career, that needs to be part of your decisions within your career. So there are going to be changes within your mental space, within your physical self as well. With you might have to travel also. You might have to go through, even if you have children, you might have to go through your emotional transformation in regards of children. You can be very criticizing in the beginning, but then you will come to a point where you will be confronted that that is not what they desire, and you have to settle at some point of boundaries. That is also something which is present here. But definitely, you will have to deal with the matters of the fourth house, fifth house, and the seventh house, which are mostly related to your relationships, your career changes, and your research work as well. For whole of this time, you will be feeling very low on emotions, which will actually make you take certain decisions or make certain changes in regards of how you are dealing emotionally with everything. It's like your reaction is coming out of a very, very deep hidden issue, and then you are trying to analyze it, you're trying to talk about it, you're trying to heal that from within by making an effort towards the home situation, towards your mother, in fact, as well, or towards your own heart, your own self, right? And definitely some significant changes regarding the career, some additions, some transformations, some creativity and research to be a part of it. All right. Now we have the zodiac sign of Aries. For Aries individuals, we have retrograde Mercury in the third and the fourth house. And it will be actually starting from the fourth house and then going into the third house. This Mercury is the lord of the third house and sixth house, coming into the fourth house. Now, Mercury, when goes retrograde, you will have to deal with the issues of the home. Either it's the physical home, the physical structure of the home, or it's about the kind of negativity which is happening within the environment of the home. Your decisions at this point of time will be backed up by emotions and and can be quite intense in nature, for the fact when Mercury moves into the third house, it has to be more about communication. It has to be reconsidering your efforts, reconsidering of your involvement into your home and towards the decisions of the home as well. At the same time, for Aries as well, the factors related to their career and job scenario are extremely, extremely important. Definitely with Jupiter's presence in the fourth house, you're trying to expand a lot of things when it comes to your career, when it comes to the home, but at the same time, there is a new sort of burden you have started feeling recently. Actually, it would have been already there since a year, since more than a year, actually, but now it has started feeling more. And now the pressure is getting a little unbearable, where you are trying to oppose that particular responsibility towards the home or even the mother, but at the same time you will have to be present there, you will have to give your dedication, give your involvement into the issues of the home, into the responsibilities of the home. So this Mercury will actually go through recommunication and redoing the some paperwork as well in regards of your job change, in regards of your job, business, or even some legalities, properties, all of those things. So a lot of lessons are being attached to how how your contribution and communication has been lately, and how your contribution in the way of your skills, your understanding has been lately. So that's what this Mercury retrograde would trigger for the month of July. Now, next we have the zodiac sign of Taurus. For Taurus individuals, we have Mercury going retrograde in the third house and then in the second house. Mercury is the lord of your second and your fifth house coming into the third house. This is the time when you will have to rethink about certain investments that you made out of influence. Also, it's a time where, when a planet rules the second and the fifth house together, it has the ability to create the Dhan Yoga. So definitely you will be able to generate some good amount of money through business, through job, through your endeavors, but especially which involves sales, marketing, and communication. At the same time, it's a very sensitive time for your communicative self. There are deep hidden issues which you will be talking about now. There are deep hidden things that, there's a sense of sometimes there's a sense of need that we have to tell what we have done, so as to prove that yes, we were quiet since a very long time, but now it's the time to speak about what we have done and what I am getting against my expectations. So that's the kind of scenario I see to be happening with the third house. And then Mercury would go retrograde in the second house. It's like you are rethinking about your communication, you're rethinking about your financial decisions. You will somehow also have to be very calculative with the money matters. For the month of July, you will have to budget all your money, your finances. You will have to rethink about how to generate finances, income, so that can bring about job change, that can bring about career change, that can even bring about you getting promotion within your career, which makes you deal more with the communication and financial side of the career. But definitely there are much of the issues present here and to be dealt with in regards of your younger siblings as well, and regards of your family and how your relationship with the family has been. There are efforts, and there's some criticalness also which is required on your part to be given towards the family. And definitely, there will be some issues that you'll be dealing with in regards of hidden emotions and even hidden wealth. That is also something that I see for some people. All right. Now, next, let's come to the zodiac sign of Gemini. So, for Geminis, Mercury is going retrograde in the second house and in their first house. We have Mercury to be the lord of the first and the fourth house. So, first and the fourth lords are going into the second and then being retrograde. There's something this also shows me people who are living away from their home, away from their family. For some reason, you will have to go back to your family to deal with certain things, whether good, whether celebrations, or whether anything, any sort of thing. At the same time, you will have to deal with certain changes within your communication and within your lifestyle as well. With Mercury going retrograde into the second house, you will have to rethink about how you are spending your money. So it's like restructuring your finances again, restructuring your expenses also, because there are certain major expenses you have to take care of for the provision. Either it is for yourself, maybe you are getting married and you have to take care of the financial expenditure, or maybe someone in your family is getting married and you will have to take care of the finances and deal with it. That's why you'll be budgeting, restructuring everything, or maybe you are trying to renovate your home and that's the reason you're trying to, work with the finances. But at the same time, this makes you deal with the intense side of emotions that are connected with the money. You know, your emotional attachment, which has a part of finances also within it. Sometimes some relationships do have some financial involvement, or sometimes, for example, I'm just giving an example. Sometimes we feel that who is going to be there for us financially when we are in need. So that's the kind of situation I'm basically able to see here. Right. So that's the kind of sensitivity which is coming here. But at the same time, since this is the first and the fourth lords coming into the second house going retrograde, and then it is going to come into the first house, and Sun and Jupiter will go into the second house, the finances seems to grow. The finances seems to actually, this particular rectification, reconsideration, and expenditure is actually going to come there to flourish your existing finances only, and to change a bit the way you make the expenditure happen. All right, so that's about the zodiac sign of Gemini. Now we have the zodiac sign of Cancer. For Cancer individuals, Mercury is going retrograde in the first house and then in the 12th house. See, Mercury is naturally the planet of, funds, debts, and it is also the planet of calculations, money, barter system, money exchanges. So, if it is coming into your first house as retrograde, this is the time when you will be dealing with criticalness of money. You will be actually, it's like you all the time you have your calculator on, you know in front of you, and you're trying to deal with the financial crunch. But I don't think it is going to be in a bad way. It's like you're taking on certain responsibilities. You have certain things to be done. For that you are basically, you know uh, also trying to be very mindful with the finances. But at the same time, it's a very, very important time with this Mercury retrograde for for Cancer individuals, because Mercury going retrograde into your first house, and that too in Cancer, you will have to reanalyze your own emotions. And I think lately, that's my understanding of Cancer individuals. I think lately you have been going through a lot of transformation. At the same time, you've been very, very reactive. You've been very, very in the zone where now the rebel side of you has come so much of forward that you've started behaving very unlike of yourself. So now, for some reason, with this Mercury retrograde, I think it's like it is going to give that last effect of reaction. After that, you will start acknowledging all the wrong choices made by you, all the wrong, you know, not wrong emotions, but in a wrong way, how the emotions came out. It's the time for you to acknowledge that and rectify that. So emotionally, it's a very it's a time when you will feel very conflicted, but at the same time, by feeling conflicted, you will be able to get back for yourself. You'll be able to correct many of your relationships which basically got broken in the past, which got broken in the process of you trying to find your voice. So it's a very, very huge transformation and very impactful transit for especially the Cancer ascendants or Cancer moon signs, that you may experience overthinking, you may experience deep emotions for good, for bad, for everything. And that is going to basically make you heal. It's like a person who is carrying so many emotions over such a long period of time. They start getting aggressive on everything. They start getting disappointed and they start, you know, victimizing themselves for the longest time. But then when they get something to be happy for, they start realizing that how wrong they have done because of a pure mindset, because of something pure that came, because they were not able to acknowledge because of the circumstances. So that's the kind of situation which is coming here, which definitely the end result of which is you getting your wisdom, you understanding, you becoming a bigger person, right? So I think the month of July is going to be very significant for that realization and for that change to come about and to happen. At the same time, since this Mercury would go retrograde in the 12th house as well, I see that is going to be certain expenditure, certain debts to be paid off, certain expenditure to be made, and then certain things to be clearing themselves. At the same time, you will start making certain efforts towards decluttering your subconscious, towards improvising your spirituality as well. So it's a very, very important time. I think this 1 month might not be very impactful for everyone else, but it is going to be very impactful for Cancerians. Right? This Mercury is the lord of your 12th house and your third house coming into the first house. It can even make you travel. It can make you deal with all the things that I talked about because third house is your assumptuous self, it's the self effort, and the 12th house is your subconscious self, it's your spiritual self. So there are expenditures also coming towards you, and there are certain responsibilities also you have to bear. At the same time, you will be most dedicatedly trying to correct your health. So most of the attention would go towards the health as well. Now, next we have the zodiac sign of Leo. For Leo individuals, Mercury is going retrograde in the 12th house and then in the 11th house. Mercury is the lord of your 11th house and your second house. The second lord and 11th lord going into the 12th house has two meanings, and then it is going retrograde. It's like the missed opportunities in regards of overseas that are going to come back and you will have to deal with. So there can be some relocation happening in regards of overseas or in regards of you shifting from one place to another. This is also a time where your spirituality is going to play a very important role. And trust me, for the month of July, Leo ascendants or Leo moon signs are going to cry for the God. For some reason, you will feel so connected with your spiritual self, so connected with the God that you will cry for Him. You will cry for the supreme power. Now, is it happily there? Is it because of a reason? Is it because of a loss? That is dependent on how your planetary placements are. But definitely it is there. Other thing is that you will be working a lot upon your nutrition, your health, your well-being. So you'll be taking certain steps to get better with your health, to get better with your skills as well at the same time. Then the second and the 11th Lord going into the 12th house, going retrograde, also means that your gains come from the 12th house matters, which is spirituality, which is, either you'll be spending money upon certain investments or it's you get gains from the overseas. Also, it means that your income or your savings is also going somewhere. Either you have to take out money from your saving and you have to spend it on something, right? So that is also there. But this particular time also you will be healing your relationship with yourself and also with your elder sibling if there is an elder sibling. Your connectivity with the society would also become more. So you'll be connecting with a lot of people. You'll be, getting more opportunities in regard through your social circle, through foreign lands, and yeah, okay. And apart from this, what else? Apart from this, I think Mercury going retrograde when it comes into your 11th house, it makes you rethink about your recognition, rethink about the choices made for maybe for your career, maybe for your finances, maybe for your expenditure, your investments. So you'll be rethinking, reevaluating all those things as well. All right. Now, next we have the zodiac sign of Virgo. For Virgo individuals, Mercury is going retrograde in the 11th house, and then it is going to go retrograde in your 10th house. It is the Lord of your first and the 10th house coming into the 11th house. So it's the matter where you will have to deal with your social circle or your emotional attachments related to your friends or your past relationships. All right. You definitely have to go through that sort of uh, feeling where you can have a disagreement with any of the person within your social circle, where you can feel that this has basically, your conversation with a particular person of your social circle or even your elder sibling, that has basically affected you deeply emotionally. So that can take you into a stage where you will go into your shell, into your cocoon, but you will actually have to work upon that to heal your relationship with them. Even if at this point you're not feeling that that needs to be healed or there's nothing wrong, but trust me, this can trigger something to be wrong the way, and then you will have to heal that particular scenario. At the same time, Mercury going retrograde in your 11th house and then having Cancer over there, this makes you understand and deal with your association with others and also the way you have your desires. So, there's some strong lessons that are required to be learned in the way that what I am desiring to do and how much I'm, working hard towards accomplishing that desire. So that is going to be the matter of question. But at the same time, there can be recommunications from the past. There can be opportunities coming again in regards of your business, in regards of your career, in regards of your job that is going to come from the past, or there's like reconsideration of certain opportunities from the past. But definitely everything surrounds around your gains, your desires, your connection with the society, and your career. Also, I think there will be instances where you will have to mark your self, like you have to mark your stand that, yes, this is what I stand for. And you will have to strongly put that put that forward. All right. Now, now next we have the zodiac sign of Libra. For Libra individuals, Mercury is going retrograde in the 10th house and in the ninth house also. Mercury is the lord of the 12th house and the lord of the ninth house itself. So, Mercury going retrograde, that means that there is certain requirement that is needed for you to get better with your career. Like, for example, you need to spend some money, maybe expand your office, expand your workspace, and then you will think about it, you will do it, and the career would expand. Or there would be certain knowledge, certain higher knowledge which will be required within your career, and within for basically elevating your career or for getting promoted. So you might have to deal with that. But in a way, having the ninth and the 12th lords coming into the 10th house is a very strong position to have, but it is going retrograde. That means the lessons are also connected with it. You will have to deal with certain expenditure when it comes to your career. You will have to go through certain losses within your career so as to get the wisdom of how to deal with the career. It's like, once a person gets a loss into something, they get that wisdom that next time I'm not going to repeat that mistake. So that's the kind of situation, that's the kind of thing I see happening here. At the same time, this Jupiter, Venus, Mercury being in your 10th house would make you very creatively connect with your career and with your bosses, authorities as well. And you definitely have to go through some hidden politics within your workspace. And that is going to make you learn that how I have to be clever enough, I have to be intelligent enough to deal with the people in my surroundings. So that's the kind of things are going to happen a for a Libra individual. But at the same time, there can be significant changes and significant changes that will be happening in regards of your career, in regards of your knowledge, in regards of your expenses. At the same time, significant changes of your relationship within your workspace, within the people, with people as well. But definitely, it also promises promotion. It promises elevation of your designation. But Mercury will first make you deal with the issue, and only after that it will be promising that or giving that. All right. Now, next we have the zodiac sign of Scorpio. For Scorpio individuals, Mercury is going retrograde into your ninth house and then into your eighth house. Mercury is the lord of your eighth house and 11th house coming into the ninth house. There can be some sudden things that you'll have to deal with. There can be some suddenness that is going to also be happening, not just in your life, but also in the life of your father, life of your guru, and also in the life of your elder sibling. Something sudden is about to happen in regards of either your family, finances, or you understanding about your life. All right. So, indeed, having Jupiter and Venus in the ninth house is very, very good in the form of a person's luck, fortune. But having a retrograde Mercury there makes you question your own beliefs. So, something sudden that would happen in regards of your family, in regards of your uh, finances is going to change significantly change what you believe in or what you follow, what you work for. At the same time, your relationship with the in-laws can also experience a sudden shift, a sudden change, right? There can be some sudden conflict also you'll have to deal with, either because of your father or with your father, or same for the elder sibling as well. But 8th and 11th Lord coming into the ninth house can also actually be good for dealing with inheritance matters or fights or obstacles related to inheritance. Okay. Now, next we have the zodiac sign of Sagittarius. For Sagittarius individuals, Mercury is going into their eighth house and then into their seventh house. You will have to deal with deep-rooted issues of your own emotional self, of your own, the issues that you have not addressed, the issues that you have not dealt with. Also, somehow your partner would also has to deal with some financial restructuring. You have to deal with some financial restructuring. There is going to be a teamwork that has to be there in regards of finances along with your partner. If you have a partner, if not, then you will have to deal with the conflicts attached to your inheritance or to some sort of properties. Definitely, this is also a time where you'll try to add on within your fixed assets. With the, you will try to heal yourself. You will try to heal the generational patterns, and you will try to get better with your finances as well. You will try to heal the issues of your marriage, issues of your partnerships as well. It also means this Mercury going into the eighth house, and going retrograde is that you'll have to deal with suddenness in your life. So for the month of July, you can expect sudden changes to be happening, whether for good or for bad. But definitely there are sudden changes happening with your work, within your business, within your career, because this Mercury is the Lord of the seventh house and the Lord of your 10th house. There can be some re-opportunities in regarding to collaborations, business opportunities, and your career as well. But suddenness is going to be a part of the month of July for you while Mercury is retrograde. And there's going to be back and forth communications to be happening within your relationship and within your relationship with your in-laws as well. All right, if you have your in-laws. Other than this, this is a very fruitful conjunction to have in the eighth house. You try to deal with the intensities of life in a very mature way. You deal with your childhood traumas, you break your generational patterns. At the same time, you indulge deeply into astrology or occult. You try to build legacy at the same time, but also the negative part of this particular retrogression is that the suddenness comes from the eighth house. The sudden misery, the sudden sorrow can be a part of the month of July. All right. And also, this means something related to the way you interact with others, interact with your partner, interact in your relationship, that is also going to change and transform. Now, lastly, we have the zodiac sign of Capricorn. So, for Capricorn individuals, Mercury is going retrograde in the seventh house and then it'll go into the sixth house. Mercury is the lord of your um, sixth house and ninth house. So the sixth and ninth lords are going retrograde in the seventh house. That, first of all, means that there can be, actually, this means that there can be some association or re-encounter with someone from the past. There, you will have to address the problems in the past, the conflicts in the past, the issues that you have within your family, with your relatives, with your partner. Also, you will have to address them, heal through it, and you will have to be present there and acknowledge it, and then settle all the disputes that you have been going through. Right? There's going to be visiting, reevaluating your finances, your debts, your business, your work situation, your relationship with the people who are present within your workspace. So, a lot of things that you'll have to deal with are connected to the sixth and the seventh house. And also the ninth house, but ninth house more so attaches its fortune and you getting your wisdom through your encounter with others. So there can be reconciliations also. There can be re-encountering, people from the past also. There can be resurfacing of issues of the marriage and dealing with it to solve it. There can be some debts that has to be taken care of. Also, there has to be your health or issues related to your health to be taken care of as well. All right. So, guys, this was my analysis about retrograde Mercury to be happening from 29th of June till 24th of July 2026. And I hope this gives you very good insights into this topic. All right. So, see you with the next video. Bye bye. Take care.